Hey Bates Motel fans, thanks for checking out Eskimo TV. I'm your host Jason Escamilla, and today we're going to be talking about Bates Motel Season 5, Episode 9, Visiting Hours. In this episode, we see that the Bates Motel is being searched by the authorities. And one of the things that I was thinking is that Norman is really lucky that he hid the body before all of this went down. And after I had that thought, it just made me think, how is that not enough to break this delusion that he's having? I get that the show's supposed to explain the events leading up to Psycho, but I just find it a bit hard to buy that him hiding the body doesn't wake him up from this delusion that he's having. It's a really hard thing to explain, and I think it's one of the flaws with the show. But again, I get it's a show, and I get that the condition of Norman's character is very lost. I liked this episode in general, but one thing that I will say is that having the expectation that this is the episode before the finale of the entire series, I think I had a bit higher of an expectation for it. Dylan decides to tell Emma that Norman is responsible for her mom's death, and she becomes very distraught, and justfully so, I believe. I think that in the past I've found Emma to be really annoying when she's upset or angered, but I did not feel annoyed by her at all in this episode. In fact, I actually had sympathy because she's learned that her mother was not only killed, but she was killed by someone that she did not expect to do something like that. Emma tells Dylan that it's up to him if he wants to attend the trial, and I feel like Dylan is stuck in the middle of wanting to defend his brother, but also not wanting anyone else to get hurt. And specifically, he doesn't know how his wife will feel if he shows up to court defending someone who murdered his wife's mom, his mother-in-law. One scene that I did think was kind of annoying, but I do get that Madeline is distraught over the loss of her husband, is she attacks Dylan, claiming that he should have known that Norman was this way. Well, she actually says, you knew, and you did nothing about it. I found it to be a little bit annoying because she doesn't know Dylan. She doesn't know the history that Norman and Dylan have. How does she even know if Norman and Dylan even grew up together? I think that this is one of those sticky issues that if someone is killed, but is killed because someone's crazy, and this is the legitimate case, Norman is crazy, do they truly deserve to be put to death or be sent to prison? That's a good debate to have, because we can't let someone who is that mental be out in public where the general population is at risk. But at the same time, is that worth sending them to prison where they haven't, in the right state of mind, if they were in the right state of mind, they haven't done anything wrong? One scene I really liked is when Emma visits Norman, and I don't know how. I think it's a little far of a stretch that Emma can realize that it's not Norman, but she does, and she says, "Where's Norman?" And the mother character responds that he's asleep and that when he wakes up, everything's going to be okay. And I think at that point, Emma gives Norman some grace for what he's done, because at that point, she didn't look as upset with him, because she really, at that point, I think, comes to grips with the fact that Norman is crazy. My favorite part of the episode was the last part where Romero breaks into where Norman's being held, holds everyone hostage. He obviously doesn't care that people were seeing him, so what's he going to do after all this is done? Is he going to go with Maggie Summers and start a new life? And what's going to happen to Norman? These are the questions that I'm wondering going into the final episode. Let me know what you think is going to happen in the finale. I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you enjoyed this review, please subscribe to Eskimo TV and share through social media. Definitely would love to hear your thoughts on this episode. Leave a comment, and I'll definitely be posting my final review for the Bates Motel series. You guys have a good one, and I'll definitely look forward to catching up with y'all next week.